Welcome to Checks and Balances. I'm Michael Vincent. This is James Blair. And today we've got Ben Brinkerhoff, Head of Advice at Consilium, to talk about pursuing a better investment experience.
Ben, welcome back.
Thank you.
So you sent me a nice little 4-page document maybe a month or two ago. And I was like, Ben, this would be a great podcast episode.
I wish I'd thought of that when I sent it to you.
And it was called, that's pretty much all we think about is we've got jobs, but we're just using this as a platform so Mike and I can become D-list celebrities. Pursuing a better investment experience with 10 key principles to improve your odds of success.
Does that make me an E-list celebrity?
You can try. You can.
Right?
If you
one peg below.
If you're trying to cruise off our coattails, good luck to you. So there's these 10 key principles, which we'll go through some of them.
Yeah.
The term pursuing a better investment experience.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Okay, I think most people's investing experience turns out to be horrific in time. And you guys have probably experienced that. And that is true in property. That's true in shares as well, or other types of investment. Most times you get into investment because you are dazzled by someone else's success. And it seems easy. And it seems like I can have all the benefits without the risks or without the knowledge. And you get into it. And of course, maybe occasionally that does play out. And that person makes a lot of noise.
Yeah.
But for most people, it is a lot of disappointment because it is not nearly so simple or nearly so enjoyable or nearly so profitable without adding knowledge and discipline into the process. And so if you want to have an investment experience that's enjoyable, there are some simple rules to follow that have been proven to work over many, many decades and will continue to work into the future.
Yeah.
The problem is that very few of them are flashy. Probably none of them.
Yeah. That's a big part, right? If they're not flashy, if people aren't going to get rich quick, they don't want them.
No one, if it's not sexy advice, no one wants it, right? Yeah.
Honestly, right? I mean, if this podcast was not pursuing a better investment experience, this podcast was, 10 simple rules to get rich quick, you would get more hits, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just pop. People want that, right?
It's not a bad thumb.
Robbie, maybe that's the new topic.
5 ways to make $1 billion in crypto.
Right,
It'd be through the roof.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, we got to do that NFT podcast as well about it. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So I'm going to quickly run off the 10 key principles. Mike, you want to go one for one?
Yeah, let's
Are you
go
in a
for it.
position to do that? Cool. And then we're going to talk about some of the insights from some of the principles. So the first one, embrace market pricing.
Yep.
One for one.
Cool. 2, don't try to outguess the market.
3, resist chasing past performance.
Yep. 4, let the markets work for you.
5, consider the drivers of returns.
6, practice smart diversification.
7, avoid market timing.
Number 8, what I'm good at, managing your emotions.
9, look beyond the headlines.
And then number 10, focus on what you can control.
Cool. So we'll put in a link below, which will send you to our website or the flyer so you can have a good read and see what it's all about. Ben, what are the ones in there that kind of really jump out to you?
Well, I tell you the one that jumps out to me is resist chasing past performance. Because that is just so psychologically enticing. And actually, even worse, it's actually how when I see advertising for investments, I basically see only 2 themes come out. I see our returns are really good in the past. And if you use us, we're going to the implications, we're going to replicate that into the future.
Wink, wink.
Or we're cheap.
Yeah.
We're really, really inexpensive. And I guess those 2 things people can resonate with right away. But the more dangerous of those 2 is the idea that I've had great past performance, and you will have seen the headlines, kind of speaking to the camera. Hey, we're the number 1 fund, KiwiSaver aggressive fund for the last 5 years or the last 10 years, or we got the best returns last year. That kind of advertising, very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because
I don't mind taking shots at companies. NZ Funds did a 1-year return, stating 100% return. And I think they had some crypto in their portfolio when it went up. And the FMA, the regulator, slapped them silly. So one, providers shouldn't be doing that stuff. But second, you're right. People look at numbers, the returns, fees. Clearly, the government likes low fees, which is a good thing. But yeah, making decisions just on that historical.
I guess
number,
the question is, how do you advertise the funds then? Like, what does a consumer really care about if it's like, oh, we've got 3 top people from Harvard or something driving our investment engine? They're going to be like, I don't care. What was the past performance, right? Yeah. I'm just saying, to play devil's advocate, difficult to advertise finance to people in a way that hooks them in. If not saying, here's some type of return you can expect.
Yeah.
Well, that's the issue. The issue was the word expect.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's one thing, and I think the advertisers are very careful about this. They imply it. They didn't tell you this is what you should expect.
Yeah.
They just tell you this is what we got.
Yeah.
Right. Because as soon as they tell you that's what they could expect, then
they're done.
The FMA probably would come down on that, although I can't speak for them. But the issue is that when I look at the data, you say, okay, for example, if I look at the top 25% of funds, right? If I look the next year, what percentage of those top 25 are still in the top 25? Well, if it was random, it would be 25% of them.
Yeah.
But it's less than 25%.
Yeah.
It's actually, so I think the latest data is like 22%. So you have a below average chance, right, of replicating that.
Yeah.
And the issue is not so much whether that happens, because of course things go up and down. The issue is whether or not you bought on the expectation that you were going to replicate that experience.
Yeah.
And then you don't replicate that experience and you go, wait a minute, I'm not getting what I thought I was going to get. This other fund or that other fund's done better.
Yeah.
When you buy something that's done well recently, typically you're just buying something expensive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you buy into real estate and it's done well recently, you're kind of buying expensive real estate.
Yeah.
So the idea of buying the expensive thing, it probably stands to reason that you're likely to get a worse outcome. I can't say likely with certainty, but the idea that you're going to replicate a great outcome is very dangerous. And to sort of begin an investment experience with that as a premise is a mistake and leads to a bad investment experience.
Avoid market timing. So when COVID hit, I think it was $4 billion of KiwiSaver moved from growth funds into cash or conservative funds, right? Your average Joe working hard, doesn't know anything about investing, goes, you know what? I can see what's happening here and this isn't good, and I'm going to move into cash.
Let me run to safety.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we saw what happened where interest rates dropped, the markets ran, and people crystallized losses. Trying to time the markets there.
Well, when are you most likely to be excited or titillated by markets, right?
Titillated.
By markets.
Right up the top.
Right. So it's most likely to happen after recent good performance. And you're most likely to feel panic after recent bad performance. But psychologically, that's true. But from an investment perspective, it's backwards. So when shares are on sale, you typically want to buy more. And when they are, on premium, you'd buy less. And there's a way you can do that without thinking. And the way you do that is you just invest regularly.
Yeah.
So if I'm buying $1,000 of shares a month, right? But maybe through a fund, because that's the simplest way to do it. If prices are low, that $1,000 buys me more.
Yeah.
Right? If prices are high, that $1,000 buys me less.
Yeah.
And that way I'm automatically buying more at low prices and I'm buying less at high prices. And it turns out that you get a better result as a result of that. So that's kind of an anti-market timing. They put the money in all the time. Now, if you are regular buying, so I'm speaking now to anyone who's in a KiwiSaver, right? You are a regular buyer. You are not a seller. When you're a buyer, do you want low prices or high prices? Now, I don't know what you're saying beyond the camera right there, but Ravi's nodding. So hopefully you're saying, I want low prices. If I go into a store, I want a sale, right? I want something to be on sale. You want to buy more when it's on sale, but emotionally you're going to think, oh, maybe I should run for the hills, right? So you want to have a program in which you don't even think about it. The money goes in regularly. The KiwiSaver money goes in regularly. Volatility is your friend, if you are a regular buyer, the lower the prices, the less expensive the stuff you're buying is, the more you end up with.
Yeah.
Right. So, so market timing, the idea that you get excited after good markets and you get sad or panicky after bad markets, is really a way of deleting wealth.
Yeah, and I love that as a strategy for being able to buy more when the market's down, because James and I, as financial advisors, do encourage to people sometimes to be more aggressive if they can afford it when the market is back. And we sound a lot of the time like lunatics, because the media is telling you not to buy. It's doom and gloom. Everything is down. Everything's crashing. And we're out here going, hey, if you can afford it, you should really jump in now. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? But then, top of the market 2021, I have people calling me like, just give me another house. I don't care. Just get me another investment
backups
property.
on backups offers.
It's crazy.
So let me give you a little story to illustrate this. So, all right. So let's just say that the markets are down and they want to get out, right? So one thing that you might want to think through is say, okay, you want to get out now, but you want to get out permanently? No, I know I need over a long-term period of time, I need to invest. Right? Okay. So tell me the conditions in which you were going to get back in. The headlines, are they going to be scary or are they going to be pretty mild? They're going to be mild. Well, the economy, is it going to be going good or is it going to be spluttering? It's going to be going good. Okay, interest rates, right? Are they going to be high or are they going to be low and supportive of business? They're going to be low and supportive of business. Okay, so let me just say this, right? So you want to invest again when the economy is going well, when interest rates are supportive, and when the headlines are really positive, right? At that point in time, do you think prices are going to be higher or lower than they are now, right? And this is where you have to pause. Financial advisors, we don't like to pause, but we have to pause, right?
Shut up.
And let someone go tick, tick, tick. No, prices are going to definitely be higher than they are now. So you're saying you want to guarantee that you lose money on this trade, right?
Yeah.
You want to guarantee that you'll get back in when you have to buy it at a higher price than today. You are very likely, to lose money in that scenario. So it's really having that courage to stay disciplined. That is an essential quality of a good investment experience. Yeah.
I really like the way that you explain that concept. And the thing about market timing as well, right? And one thing I'm just banging home with every client at the moment: only 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and recessions. And then, so if you're worried about this recession, what's going to happen in another 5 years when there's another recession? So if you don't think there's going to be another recession, there is going to be. And you got to learn to deal with these things over and over. And what are you going to do? Jump in and out of the market all the time? That's a great way to lose a hell of a lot of money.
Absolutely. The best investors in the world actually don't do any market timing at all.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett is famous for absolutely despising market timing. In fact, he goes, the lower the prices, the happier I am.
Yeah. And the other piece on shares as well is it's something like if you miss the top 10 days every year, your investment drops by like 50%. And then you might as well just be sitting in cash.
And the best days often happen during the worst markets. Right? Because, the funny thing about markets is that prices go up in anticipation of the economy, not in line with the economy. So when the headlines are still awful, my example is in the GFC. We all remember that, maybe in 2009 in March, the market's at the bottom. Well, the GFC had not unwound by March 2009. There's still planned layoffs. General Motors was still going under. Every month, new layoff numbers, more and more people unemployed. It was an absolute mess in 2009. The market went like this. Because the market went, I can see that now. And everyone was saying, this is because the headlines are so awful, this has to be an aberration. But no, that was the bottom. So the markets are anticipating the economy.
They're forward looking.
So they're going to start going up, not when things are rosy, right? But when they can anticipate that things in the future might be looking up.
Yeah, and that's where, I don't want to. Mike and I said about 3 months ago that we were at the bottom, and we're pretty much right. But the whole point, right, is it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant whether we're at the bottom, whether there's an extra 5 or 10% down to go. It's all about Mike thinking about, if you've got this discount, I mean, we don't try and time markets, but if you've got the ability to take a discount, you'd be silly not to, assuming you've got the right cash flow, you've got the right goals, you're thinking long term.
Yeah. I mean, we say it, right? It never is the bottom of the market. It was the bottom of the market, right? It's the same with
hindsight.
everything. By the time by the time you think it's the bottom, we're on the way up again.
Yeah.
The idea is you just simply don't need to know.
Yeah.
As an investor, you do not need to know when the bottom is. It doesn't matter. You can have a great investment experience and have never really even considered it.
Yeah. And the other thing I've been saying at the moment is if you want to know what's going to happen over a year, we call that gambling. If you want to know what's going to happen over a decade, it's as close to certainty as you can get. Ben, what's one more of those that kind of jumps off the page here?
There's so many, right? This is all good stuff, right? I like the idea of don't try to outguess the market. The fact is that most managed funds, because of their costs, will underperform the market.
Yeah.
There's a fraction that will outperform the market. Maybe over time, 20% will. So you might get that 20% right. But actually, rather than trying to find the people that are going to be able to anticipate future earnings of companies, pretty difficult to do, right? Who was anticipating where AI was 4 or 5 years ago? Like, it's a very difficult thing to do, but those are the companies driving returns over the last year. Instead, invest very broadly, right? Keep your costs low, and you're likely to outperform the majority of participants in the market just because you are not switching and handling and paying a lot of costs. I like to say, like, money's like soap. The more you handle it, the less there is, right?
Oh, you're definitely stealing that, aren't you,
I
Mike?
like that.
Yeah.
So the more you transact, the more you trade, the more there is middlemen who are doing this for you or you're doing yourself, the more cost and friction you're going to add into your portfolio, and the less opportunity you're going to have to really outperform because you are now starting that far behind because you have this many costs to make up before you actually do better.
Yeah. And it's much more important to have like a strategy, working with somebody you're happy with, not as much as set and forget, but something that you're not playing with all the time, and give your money meaning. So opposed to just having money, what's it all for?
That's right.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so we'll put the link to this document down below. And Ben, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
We will do one more episode with Ben, so make sure to check that out. Now, Mike, how are they going to be able to find the next episode?
You can look on Spotify.
Yeah, you subscribe, you review, you like. You were like, where are we going with this?
I was
And
like,
we will see
what
you
are we doing?
next time.
Cheers.